Hey guys, I'm back. So today, if you read the title, you know we are going to be ranking the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. As you may have noticed right off the bat, it's a little bit different. I have my list, up on the screen up on the screen for you guys to see my entire ranking right off the bat. But other than that, things are just going to play out the same, except instead of going worst to best, I'm going to go from best to worst. So first I'll be talking about the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then I'll be ending with Next Generation. Instead of starting off with Next Generation, going through my list, and then talking about the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah, so, let's get started. So, up on the far top left, you can see that number one is the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now, alright, so this movie, it is a pre-day slasher. It really has that 70s Grimehouse documentary feel to it. There's just this realness to this movie. It just feels so real when you're watching it. Um, yeah, yeah. Apparently Toby Hooper, the guy who made the film, he thought he was making a black comedy, but it really is just a serious movie. It's yeah. Um yeah, this movie is just great. Leatherface is a great villain. The hitch sorry. The hitchhiker is great. Even the music, it's not really music, but it's like noise. It just fits along with the tone of the whole film. It goes so well with the film. Um, yeah, Leatherface making his mask out of human faces just adds another layer of realness to the film. Yeah, and Grandpa in this movie, oh, I forgot to talk about, the movie, towards the end, it just gets so wacky, but at the same time, it's just so serious, but it's not wacky as in, like, oh, everything's crazy and it's funny. It's not. It's like there's this realness to it, and the family, it's not like the typical Texas Chainsaw Man. One thing I noticed while watching all these movies again, that later on in the series, the family is like kind of what sticks together. It's like all the family love each other and stuff, and like oh, the Saw is family. But in this movie, the family seems to hate each other. The way they're talking, oh, he makes Leatherface and me do all the work, and yeah, you such your trap. Yeah, yeah, this movie's great, and um, yeah. Oh, and also, um, it was very hot on the set while filming this movie, and they shot that dinner table scene just so many times over and over and over again that by the time they finished it, when Sally is running and she's laughing at the end of the movie on the tow truck, yeah, the pickup truck. That's real. That's not acting, because she's glad that it's. I think they shot that. They were doing it for about 24 hours straight, or 30 hours. Yeah. That's all real. That's like, oh, we're finally finished with the movie. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, there's just this realness to the whole film. It's just great. Yeah, that's what I have to say for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original. So coming up next is going to be the prequel to the remake, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning. Now, this movie, it improves on the remake, in my opinion, because, well, the sheriff, I think he's just much better in here than he was in the remake. Like, he's throwing off more one-liners, and um I like the storyline, how the brother didn't want to go to Vietnam and the sheriff doesn't like that, and they have to the other older brother has to pretend he was the other one that burned his draft card. And the sheriff is like, "Oh, soldier," and he's just like calling him like a coward, and he just tortures him for that, and it's just great. I really, and the gore is great. Um, yeah, and the scene is great where they show how Leatherface got his mask. Um, no, not how. Well, yeah, how he got his mask and how he's cutting off the face. Yeah, yeah, that's what I have to say for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The big it's extremely gory too, and it's not as dark as much as dark as the tone was in the remake. It's not necessarily like fun, but it's not as like serious as the remake. It's more like, oh, we're watching a Texas Chainsaw film. The remake was a lot more um yeah, the remake was just a lot more dark than the beginning. Yeah. So, coming up after that is the Texas Chainsaw remake. Now, this remake is great. This is one of the best horror remakes. Like, anytime horror fans are talking about best horror remakes, the remake of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is mostly in, like, the top 5 best horror remakes. And, yeah, alright. After Next Generation, this franchise was out of control. It was garbage. It's horrible. Next Generation was horrible. This movie, the remake, it just fixed all of that. It's just, yeah, I think, personally, I think the Hewitts can kick the Sawyer's asses. Like, they're just way more sadistic than the Sawyers were. The Sawyers were kind of annoying, actually. Not really in the first movie or the second, but like in 3 and 4, they just got annoying. Um, yeah. Um, hmm. Um, oh, this Leatherface is brutal as hell. Um, yeah. And once again, the sheriff is great in this. It's almost like you don't even come to the remakes to see the Leatherface. You just come to see the sheriff. He's just such a sadistic yet fun character. Um yeah, the hook scene was great in this. They don't really dive too much into the cannibal side of them though, but they make up for that in the beginning. Um it this remake, it didn't copy the original. It was very different. Like, even the hitchhiker scene, I mean, there's like a hitchhiker scene, but it's not like the nutty hitchhiker. It's like this woman just got done escaped from the Sawyer Hewitt family, and she just blew her brains out, and it has its own creepiness to it than the hitchhiker scene in the original did. Um Also, yeah, Leatherface is great in it. Yeah, the final girl's pretty good. Yeah, that's what I have to say about the remake. So, coming up next is gonna be, Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. Now, I had, alright, I remember liking this movie, but I remember liking it, but recently going into it, I wasn't really looking forward to it because, like, I don't know. I guess I remembered like the comedy in it, and I watched the first film and the second one as a double feature. I don't know. I guess the tone shift, but I really enjoy this movie. This movie is great. It's just such a fun movie. It didn't try and copy what the first film did. Um, Leatherface, he likes this girl in this movie. Um, In this, if you thought Grandpa was dead in the first one, this movie, it just shows, no, he's actually alive, because you could make the debate that if he's alive or if he's dead, it's not a fact if he's dead or alive in the first movie. They don't show a move, but at the same time, you don't know. In this movie, they show him smiling and his teeth coming out, and it just looks disgusting, and it's just great, and it's done in the... Oh, God, Chop Top is one of the best characters. Good night, and music is my life. I got the Migo of him. I'm actually looking at it right now. Yeah. Yeah, I really... Chop Top, yeah, he's just great. I love the part where, Leatherface goes to kill Chop Top, and Chop Top goes, not me, get the girl, and get the girl. Yeah, yeah. This movie is just such a fun... Oh, another interesting storyline with this movie is that how the father of Franklin, yeah, he wanted to kill Leatherface. That was an interesting storyline. Yeah, part 2 is just such a fun movie. Alright, coming up next is gonna be Texas Chainsaw. Now, Texas Chainsaw 3D, yeah, Texas Chainsaw 3D, it's decent, it's alright, but it's not great, because, like, alright, well, it takes itself seriously. That's what I like about it. It takes itself seriously. It's not garbage. Yeah. Leatherface, I don't really like the look of Leatherface in this movie with, like, the red sweater. They try and make him an anti-hero, which I didn't really have too much of a problem with, but, yeah. I didn't mind the story. I didn't mind the whole thing with, like, him having a cousin and him going after her because she's part of his bloodline. It was very unnecessary. Well, no, I take that back. It's good that they got rid of all the sequels and went back to the original. I mean, maybe part 2 could have stayed, but I mean, part 3 and 4 is just garbage. Yeah. Um, hmm. Yeah, there's not a whole lot to say about this one. Um, yeah, those are my thoughts on Texas Chains. Actually, no. Wait. Oh, Leatherface was scary in this movie again. He wasn't just like he felt like his own thing, and he wasn't dressing up as a woman. He was scary in this movie. Um yeah, that's what I have to say about Texas Chainsaw. I was entertained. It was entertaining. It was all right. It was good. Um yeah, that's what I have to say about Texas Chainsaw 3D. Coming up next, now we're getting into the garbage. Now, these movies I don't like at all. I don't really like any of these movies. So part 3, alright, I'll try and give some positives now. Ken Foree is great in this movie. Ken Foree, he was in Rob Zombie's Halloween, but he's great in this movie. He gives a great performance. This movie's almost undeserving of it, but, yeah, I don't really like the look of Leatherface in this movie. His family, the fact his kid was annoying, his family was annoying. That other guy, I think, wasn't there a guy talking into, oh no, that was the mom talking into the voice, changer. She was annoying. his Leatherface's daughter was annoying. The movie is boring as hell. The outside during the night scenes, like outside of the Sawyer house, it's so dark that you could barely see what's going on. Especially like towards the beginning when the car crash happens. Like, yeah, um, yeah, Ken Foree was great in it. Um, yeah, but most of the characters were annoying. Even the characters we were like the final girl, she was kind of she wasn't she was okay, I guess. Um I I like I like the scene where the no. I do not actually never mind. I don't like the scene where this is where the humor started to get out of hand. It wasn't like it was in part 2. It just started to get out of hand. It just started to get stupid. And yeah, that's what I have to, I mean, it's not totally out of the it's not horrible, but it's bad. And it's just boring, this movie. Yeah, that's what I have to say for Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 3. Coming up next is gonna be Leatherface, the prequel to the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. See, this movie, alright, they basically saw the prequel to the remake, the beginning, and thought, oh, let's do that for the original. So this is basically remaking the remake, basically. That doesn't make any sense. Alright, so this movie, the family is unlikable as hell. I mean, I like how we see the grandpa at the beginning of the movie, and and he's alive, and he's walking and everything, and he just you see how he was good with the sledgehammer, but this movie is not that great. It's not good at all, actually. I didn't like any of the characters. I didn't like the mother was annoying. Um you think it just throws away that Leatherface wasn't a guy with a skin disorder. He wasn't like, this mentally kind of deformed. He wasn't born that way. It was like he just went crazy. It completely throws that away, and it just doesn't make sense how this movie is a prequel to the original 1974 version. The tone is not the same. Sorry guys. The tone is not the same. It's just stupid and annoying. Like it throws away what Leatherface is. It just makes it like he just went crazy, and he was never he didn't have a skin disorder. And in this movie he says, "Oh, don't you ever wish we were just two regular people in the bar?" I can't see him turning into the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I can't see that. I just can't. I don't see that happening. Um yeah. Um yeah. That's what I have to say for Leatherface. So coming up next is gonna be the worst of the worst, Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation. This movie is horrible, 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 horrible. God, man, this movie is just awful. So first of all, they have like this. All right, this weird government thing that has to do with Leatherface, and Leatherface oh god, the comedy is horrible in this movie. This is like the worst. It's full on wackiest. This is the nuttiest out of all the Texas Chainsaw movies. It's garbage. Um the Matthew McConaughey's performance is awful. He's just smacking himself in the head. It's garbage. Um, God. Leatherface is awful. The characters are unlikable as hell. The family is unlikable as hell. Um, even Leatherface is unlikable as hell. He's like transgender in this movie. He's putting on lipstick, wearing women's faces, which he wore women's faces in the original, but it's not done to this level. Like he's walking around. The poster has him in stockings. Yeah, it's awful, man. There's this weird sort of government agency connected to the Sawyers. And yeah, and I think and didn't they say that Leatherface killed John F. Kennedy in this movie? They said, "Oh, you know how John F. Kennedy was assassinated?" And it's like, can you just imagine that? Leatherface killing John F. Kennedy? It's horrible, guys. This movie, it's awful. This is It's garbage, guys. It's garbage. It's garbage. It's garbage. It's garbage. It's garbage. So that's my ranking of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. Do you agree with me? If you don't, it's okay. If you do, that's great. Wait, if you do, that's great. If you don't, that's great too. Yeah. Yeah, alright. Let me know down in the comments your ranking of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.